best is yet to come. So no matter how difficult it's been, it's getting better all the time. And no matter how good you have it, God can make it even sweeter for you. So during this month, we are making sure that we are ready for the overflow. And I just invite you to, in your own life, in your own experience, to make sure that you are clear about what it is you want. Because it's possible to prepare for an overflow and then have an overflow of the wrong thing show up. And given that we have within us the power and the ability to direct and inform the creative forces that are within us, it makes sense for us to be highly intentional. Say highly intentional. It makes sense for us to be highly intentional about how we use our powers, because the power that has been placed within us, that power assumes that we are highly intentional when we are directing the power. And so when it comes to our topic for today, speaking the word, it's just important to remember how powerful the word is. One of my richest experiences as a father was being able to speak to this bump in my honey's belly, and just saying words to the bump would sometimes get some kind of response. You ever saw that? Where you just say a few words to this bump, I'm going to just keep calling it that, and the bump just responds. And it just hit me one day that what is it that would make something that does not yet appear in the full dimension respond to what it is I'm saying? I believe that according to the scripture, that our words don't return to us void, but they accomplish where we send them to. And so we find out in the revealing word that Charles Spurgeon says that the word is the agency of God that reveals himself to us in some measure. And then it goes on to say that the word is the thought that is made present as an expression of our creative power. So then if we use our power correctly, we can create the experience we desire rather than focusing on what we don't want. I'm going to say that one more time. If we use our power intentionally, if we use it correctly, we can create the experience we desire rather than focusing on what we don't want. One of the things that I love, appreciate, value, and respect about highly functional people is they talk about what they want to manifest. They don't talk about what's missing. And if we are not careful, we can find ourselves talking about what we don't have. And let me just let you in on a secret. Talking about what you don't have does not bring to you what you want. It is the intentional use of the creative power of the word that we have been given to use to speak it so that we can talk about what we want. I love it when I think about the creative process when God says, let there be light, rather than saying, it sure is dark. I can respect the creative intelligence that says, let there be a firmament, rather than there sure ain't a whole lot of stuff right here. And so then that is instructive to us to remind us that if you want something, you have to be disciplined. 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 You have to be disciplined enough to talk about what you want, even when people show up who want to talk about what they want to talk about in the midst of your space. When we use our power correctly, we can create the experience we want. See, sometimes we're not having the experience we want because we're acting like we don't have the words to project it. I just gave you something right there. See, we're praying for experiences that we're not talking about. We're acting as if we don't have the words to articulate what it is we want. But creation follows your creative impulse of the breath of life that you put out into the universe. And so if you want it, you have to use the words that lets the world know that you're serious about it. Some of us find ourselves in this experience like Paul, where the things that we want to talk about, we don't talk about, but we talk about a whole bunch of stuff that we don't really plan to talk about. So I just, in the little bit of time that I'm with you, I just want to give you three things. I just want to give you three things. I want to just give you the ability to learn how to catch your conversation, to learn how to correct your conversation, and to learn how to cast your conversation. Can we do that in 10 minutes? I believe we can. I believe we can. See, you see how I just, see, that's practical Christianity. So then, before we move, let's just remember what power is. If our words have power, then we can benefit from remembering what power is. Is that right? So power is the idea in divine mind of authority and dominion. Power is our ability to do, to accomplish, to produce, and to master. Power is our innate control over the way we think, over the way we feel, and over the words we speak. See, I don't agree with the nonsense that says what comes up comes out. What comes up only comes out if you intend to say something you ain't got no business saying. But if you recognize that you have power, then even if it means you have to choke back the words, you have to do, as Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind and ask yourself, you have to catch yourself. Before you say it, you have to ask yourself, do you want it? Because if power gives me the ability to produce, to master, to accomplish, and if the creative capacity believes that the words that I speak is what I want, then I have to, on the front end, be able to assess if what I'm about to say is consistent with what I want to have in my life. Are you still with me? So then, when we recognize that we have power, we understand that it is our innate control over the way we think, over the way we feel, and over the way we speak. Please get away from this nonsensical thought that somebody has power over control over you in any way. Nobody is responsible for what you think. Nobody has made you angry. They only showed you where the anger was within you. Nobody gives you peace or happiness or joy. They only point to you so that you can see it in yourself. And so if nobody is in control of the way I think or what I feel or what I say, then I am always at the choice of creating a life that I want. Are you with me? So then, if I have power, one of the ways that I express that power is in what I say. Now, one of the challenges is that most people, not you, but most people are unconscious and unintentional with the choice of their words and how they use them. So as a result, they sleepwalk through the possibilities of what they say, and they wind up disempowering themselves by using the power they have. Someone said that words are free, but it's how we use them that cost us. So there are approximately 1 million words in the English language. About 300,000 of those words are technical terms. Of the 1 million, the average person knows about 10,000. Of the 10,000, we consistently have as the shape of our vocabulary 2,000 to 2,500 of those words. Of the 2,000 to 2,500, we use consistently and habitually about 300 words to shape, direct, and create our life, world, and affairs. Now, when we look at the words, there are about 2,100 words that denote negative emotion. There are about 1,000 words that denote positive emotion. If emotion gives me some insight into where I am going, then it helps to make sure that the 300 words that I use most consistently are power-packed to get me to where I want to go. So when I'm saying that you have to be able to catch yourself, know that whenever you start talking, your body responds. So when you find yourself talking, and even though you're talking about something that is making you uncomfortable, I want to invite you to catch yourself and redirect yourself, because you might be talking about somebody else, but it's only your creative capacity that hears you. It is the tape recorder of your soul that is playing out what you might be saying about somebody else. See, when you understand how we are made, you understand that there is not two, but there is only one. And so I'm always only talking about myself, because my words have no power over anybody except for me. So then I want to invite you to just be able to catch the emotion of what you're saying. When you find yourself saying something that makes you uncomfortable, you got to be disciplined enough to stop yourself in your tracks. So when you hear yourself saying, I hate this job, or I can't stand the way my hair looks, or they get on my nerves, or I done had about enough of you, I want to invite you to just recognize what you're feeling. Now, I'm not saying you don't need to make a change. I'm just saying that you have to use words that empower you so that you can move to where you want to move. Are you with me? So we want to be able to catch ourselves so that we can use words that give us the ability to accomplish what we say we want. Because if I can change my inner experience, I can change my life. And by changing our habitual words or our habitual use, we can literally change the emotional pattern of our life. So before you speak, remember that what your mind believes, your body manifests. As we listen to the creative design of the universe, remember that the universe is always responding to the direction of God. And so when God says, let there be, the universe takes that, the creative capacity within you takes that as a direct command. We have to be able to consciously catch our communication so that we can become aware of what we are saying, because what we are saying is creative and powerful. The second thing I want to get you to be able to do is just correct your conversation. Correct your conversation. Say, I must correct my conversation. See, not only do the words have power, but our words are a gift. And as a gift, our words then become one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal. Now, like many tools, it can be used for more than one function. So then I have to get to the place where I use words that are free and empowering rather than using words that are limiting and disempowering. Are you with me? Because we're all conditioned by the conversations that are taking place within us or around us. So then, when we have to look at correcting conversation, it's beneficial to remember that sometimes our parents and our siblings and our environment has given us opinions, and in some ways we have accepted these opinions, and the opinions hooked onto us, and we started saying things about ourselves that other people were saying about us. There's a beautiful story about this woman who taught grammar school children. And she retired, and there was this one class of young, unruly young men, and so they recruited her back out of retirement to ask her to fill in this class. And when they started to tell her about what they needed her to do, she was a little bit concerned, but she wasn't very concerned. As she looked at the roster, and she saw that the young men listed on the roster had what she thought was their IQ number next to their names. And so as she looked at the roster, she said, I won't have any problem. I love working with young men. Young men they're attracted to me, I'm attracted to them, and we're able to do wonderful things together. Well, as it turned out, she had a very good year with these young men, and so there was a banquet, and at this banquet, she was receiving all these applause and all this accolades for the work that she did with these young men. And as she sat there, she began to become uncomfortable because she didn't understand why people were so amazed at the work that she did with these young men. And as it turned out, the numbers that were next to their names were their locker number and not their IQ. But she, get it, but she approached them as though 131 was their IQ and not their locker number, right? So she talked to them like their IQ was high. What in your life do you need to talk to raise it up? Because there's something in your life that is dying by the way you're talking to it, and if you just correct what you say, if you will speak life and praise into pockets that don't show up right, your pockets will begin to respond in a way that is consistent with what you say you want. When your body shows you things that you don't agree with, you have the power to speak life to it. So you've got to use the voice of the God that is in you and speak life to your body. When your relationships start to come apart at the ends, talk to those things like you want them to survive. And watch this. And even if you wanted to move on, send it off with a blessing. Send it away with a blessing. Lovingly tell your body, lovingly tell the challenge that it's okay if it goes someplace else. There is someplace else that it fits, but with you it does not fit. I love when Beyonce say, to the left, to the left. Everything that's supposed to go with you is in a box to the left. So you have to be able to correct your conversation. You have to be able to catch your conversation, and then you have to be able to correct your conversation. Nature abhors a vacuum, we say. And so whenever you take something away, if you do not fill that something up with something that is beneficial, the thing will come back and it will be more forceful than what you took away. And so when you cast your conversation, you have to be able to, like Jesus said to his disciples, you have to be able to put that conversational net on the right side of what it is you want to catch. I don't know if I have any fishermen in the house, but a skilled fisherman knows that when the seas are dry, you have to find your ability to just drop a net in a place where you can catch a good catch. See, I don't know about you, but I'm looking to catch a good catch. I've had enough days where there was just a little bit, and I'm ready for a bigger catch. And so if I want a bigger catch, I have to cast a wider net. Now, the wider I cast my net, if there is plenty around, the more I can pull up. So I don't know about you, Sandy, but I'm trying to speak in ways that let me catch so much that I need some help to pull it up. I'm looking to speak words that are so powerful that I need a room full of people to help me pull it up. I don't know about you, but I need relationships that are so dynamic that I need just lots of people to help me pull it up. Because just like I can talk about a little bit of this, I can talk about a lot of that. And there is power in the words that we speak. So I just want to invite you to start to cast your habitual words. Take a look at the words you're using. If the words that you are using are disempowering you, I just want to invite you to get those words out of your vocabulary. Words like can't. And words like too old. And words like wrong gender. And words like underemployed, and words like broke, and words like whatever is out there. I want to just invite you to let that go and then replace that with the word that is empowering, like can. Or replace it with a word like must. Or replace it with a word like I can and I will. Because know that the creative capacity in you is always ready. Say always ready. It's always ready to respond to your spoken word. And so if you say to this mountain, be moved, it's got to get out of your way. If you say to the dead, come out of the grave, it's got to come out of the grave. If you understand the power that's in you, when you understand who you are and whose you are, you can speak to dead situations. Rather than complaining about your mate when they ain't even around, talk to them like you love them. Look over at the sink where they usually work at, or in the garage where they hang out at. You don't even have to let them be there. Wait until they leave, and when they leave, just stick your head in the garage and say, you know, we might have been having some tough times, but I love you too. See, I recognize that there is power in my spoken word, and it might be looking like it's coming apart, but I want to see if we can make it work. When they send you your bank account and you look at it, don't focus on what's missing. Focus on what you'd like to see. Because there is power, there is creative power in your spoken word. And I just want to invite you to say, I am a rich child of a rich father. It is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Every good thing I desire, the desire came to me because I have the power and the ability to make it manifest. When you talk to your body temple, speak words of life. Let it know that you are health, you are wealth, you are peace, and you are joy. When you walk into your home, whether you here or at home, speak peace around your house. So much peace that when people walk in, they don't know what's the matter. Let them walk in ready to fight, and peace overcomes them, the kind of peace that passes all human understanding. You can cast your conversation in a powerful way. You have everything that you need to prepare yourself for the overflow. God bless you.